There's a killer living inside you. It doesn't wear a mask. It doesn't carry a weapon. But it has the power to destroy your dreams, your future, your legacy. And the scariest part? You let it in. You let it grow. You've heard of ambition. You felt the fire to succeed, the drive to be something more. But then there's that feeling creeping in, laziness. It's the silent killer of your dreams. Laziness isn't always what you think it is. It's not just about lying on the couch, scrolling through your phone, or watching another episode of your favorite show. Laziness is subtle. It hides in plain sight. It creeps in when you think you're doing okay. It's that moment when you decide to check your email instead of tackling the most important task of your day. It's that small voice in your head telling you, you can start tomorrow. You deserve a break. But here's the problem. Every time you give in to laziness, you're letting a little more of your potential slip away. And before you know it, your dreams become distant echoes of what they could have been. Think about it. Every time you procrastinate, every time you avoid doing the difficult work, you are choosing comfort over progress. And here's the dark truth. Comfort doesn't lead to success. Comfort leads to mediocrity. Look at the greats of history, the ones who made something extraordinary of their lives. Do you think they ever let laziness hold them back? No. They understood the simple truth that growth happens when we step out of our comfort zone, when we make hard choices, when we embrace the challenge instead of avoiding it. Let me take you back to the story of Thomas Edison. Edison was no stranger to failure. In fact, he failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. But what separated him from the crowd was his refusal to accept laziness as an excuse. He didn't say, "I'll quit tomorrow." He didn't sit around waiting for inspiration to strike. He put in the work every single day, despite the failures, despite the setbacks. He understood that laziness doesn't just stop you from getting results. It stops you from even starting in the first place. Edison could have easily let the weight of his repeated failures overwhelm him. He could have told himself that he was unlucky, that he wasn't meant to succeed. But he didn't. He understood that failure was just part of the process. What mattered was showing up, putting in the effort, and refusing to quit. Now let's talk about you. Every time you choose comfort, you're pushing your dreams further away. Every time you decide it's okay to take a break, you're telling yourself it's acceptable to delay the future you desire. But let me tell you something. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. The future you're waiting for may not come. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment to take action, you'll end up with nothing but regrets. The truth is, laziness works in ways we don't often realize. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come in the form of a loud warning sign. It starts quietly, slowly, insidiously, like a creeping fog that dims your vision of your own potential. And the longer you let it linger, the harder it becomes to break free. Laziness convinces you that you can always catch up later, but the reality is, later often never comes. Think of your dreams as a seed. Laziness is the soil that suffocates it. If you don't water your dreams with action, they wither. If you don't nurture them with effort, they die. Every time you delay, you're not just slowing down progress, you're suffocating your future. So what's the solution? The key is to recognize laziness for what it is, the quiet killer potential. And when you see it creeping in, you have to fight it. You have to choose action over comfort, commitment over procrastination, effort over excuses. This isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something, anything, to break the cycle of inaction. Because the moment you take that first step, you're already winning. Make no mistake. Laziness will try to convince you that it's harmless. But don't fall for it. Every time you let it win, you lose a piece of your future. The only way to defeat it is to get up, take action, and refuse to let comfort hold you back any longer. Your dreams deserve better than that. You deserve better than that. Procrastination is a thief. It doesn't steal your money. It doesn't rob you of your possessions. It steals something far more valuable, your time. And once it's gone, you can never get it back. Every time you put something off, every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you're paying a price. But here's the real cost. The price of procrastination isn't just measured in lost hours. It's measured in lost opportunities, lost potential, and most importantly, the person you could have become. Look at anyone who's ever achieved greatness. Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein, Martin Luther King Jr. Do you think they ever put off their dreams? No. They understood that time doesn't wait for anyone. If you want something, you have to act. But the problem is procrastination makes you feel like you have more time. It convinces you that tomorrow is good enough. But the reality is, tomorrow is a mirage. You think you'll have more time, but the truth is that precious time will slip away. And one day, you'll wake up wondering where it all went. Take the example of someone like the writer J.K. Rowling. She had a dream. She had a story that she wanted to tell the world. But before she published Harry Potter, she spent years writing, getting rejected, and facing endless setbacks. There were moments she could have said, "This isn't working. I'll just quit." But she didn't. She knew that if she waited for the perfect moment, she'd be waiting forever. She acted, even when it wasn't easy, even when it felt like the world was telling her to stop. But what about you? Every time you choose to procrastinate, you're putting your dreams on pause. You're telling yourself that what you want can wait. And while you wait, the world moves on. The people around you who take action, who refuse to delay their progress, are moving forward. And you're left standing still, watching them pass you by. That's the true cause of procrastination, watching life happen without you. Psychologically, procrastination feeds into the idea of instant gratification. It feels good to avoid the hard work, to put it off, to relax. But that feeling is fleeting. The real fulfillment, the true reward, comes when you take action, when you face the discomfort, push through the resistance, and do what you know needs to be done. That's when the satisfaction comes, not from delaying it. And don't fool yourself into thinking that procrastination is just about being lazy. It's deeper than that. It's fear. Fear of failure. Fear of success. Fear of not being good enough. But procrastination is never the answer to that fear. Action is, because the longer you wait, the more that fear grows. The more you procrastinate, the harder it becomes to take that first step. And soon, you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of inaction, wondering how you ended up so far from your dreams. The price of procrastination is steep. It costs you your peace of mind. It costs you your self-respect. But most of all, it costs you your future. You cannot afford to keep putting things off. Every day that you wait is a day that could have been used to build your future. And I'll tell you this, the person you become tomorrow depends on the actions you take today. So ask yourself, what price are you willing to pay? Is it worth it to keep delaying your dreams, to keep pushing them aside, to keep telling yourself tomorrow? I can promise you one thing. Tomorrow will never come if you don't make it happen. The cost of procrastination is too high. The price is your future. It's time to take action, to stop putting things off, and to start building the life you want, right now. Because tomorrow is no guarantee. Small wins are the secret weapon of success. They might seem insignificant at first, but they're the building blocks of everything that matters. Every major achievement in history started with a small win, a single step, a small action that led to something greater. And here's the thing about small wins. They create momentum. Momentum is a key that unlocks everything you want in life, from personal growth to business success, to your ultimate dreams. It's a snowball effect. Start small and watch it grow into something unstoppable. Let me ask you a question. When you think about the most successful people you know, do you think they reach the top by taking giant leaps every time? No. They got there by making consistent, small moves. Take someone like Jeff Bezos. Before Amazon became a global empire, it was a tiny online bookstore. Do you think Bezos woke up one day and thought, "I'm going to build an empire"? No. He started with a small win, selling books online. But that win gave him the confidence to take another step, and then another, until Amazon became the powerhouse it is today. Now, think about your life. How many small wins are you leaving on the table because you're waiting for that perfect, monumental moment? We often get caught up in the idea that success requires a massive, life-changing breakthrough. We expect to achieve greatness overnight, but that's not how it works. You build your future one small win at a time. Here's the truth. When you focus on small wins, you start changing your mindset. You stop seeing the road ahead as this daunting, insurmountable mountain. Instead, you see it as a series of manageable steps. It's easy to take that first step when you know it's just a small win. And guess what? Once you take that step, you're on your way. You've already won. That simple action propels you forward. It gives you the energy to take the next step and the next. You start building momentum. Let me take you back to a story of someone who used small wins to change their life. The late Robin Williams, one of the greatest comedians and actors the world has ever seen, didn't just start his career with a starring role in Good Will Hunting. He started with small wins, performing stand-up comedy in tiny clubs, getting a few laughs here and there. But each laugh, each small victory, fueled his passion and his drive. Over time, those small wins built up, and he went on to change the face of comedy and film forever. His career was a result of countless small wins that kept pushing him forward. Small wins also change the way you view failure. When you break down your goals into smaller, more achievable actions, failure doesn't feel so daunting. You don't have to get everything right all at once. Instead, each small win helps you learn and grow. Think about how many successful people talk about the countless failures they've faced. What kept them going was a realization that those small failures were just part of the process. They didn't stop them. They motivated them to keep going, to take the next small step. Here's the most powerful part of all. When you focus on small wins, you start creating a cycle of success. Every win fuels your confidence. Every small action taken brings you closer to your bigger dreams. And before you know it, you've built a life of achievement. The key is consistency. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something, no matter how small, every single day. The magic happens in the consistency, in showing up when it's hard, in taking that first step when it feels like you're not ready. So, stop waiting for a big breakthrough. Stop looking for the perfect moment to act. Focus on the small wins, the ones that add up over time and create momentum. When you start winning small, you'll soon realize that the big victories aren't so far off after all. The secret to your success lies in the small wins. Every one of them matters. And every one of them is a step closer to the future you've always dreamed of. Comfort is a silent killer of dreams. It lures you in, telling you that it's okay to stay where you are, that you've earned the right to relax, that you've done enough. But comfort has a deadly consequence. It doesn't just hold you back. It robs you of your potential. It's like a slow poison, slowly seeping into your life until one day you wake up and realize you've been stuck in the same place for years, never growing, never moving forward. The truth is, growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens in discomfort. Growth happens when you push past your limits, when you face the fear, the pain, the struggle. The moment you settle into comfort, you stop moving. And when you stop moving, you start dying slowly but surely. Let's take a look at someone who understood this truth deeply. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players in history. Jordan's success wasn't built on talent alone. It was built on his willingness to embrace discomfort, his willingness to put in the extra hours when others were taking it easy. He didn't settle for mediocrity. He didn't settle for being comfortable with just being good. Every day, he pushed himself to be great, to be better than he was yesterday. One of his most famous quotes is, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying." Notice that he didn't say, "I can't accept failing." He said he couldn't accept not trying. Because Michael Jordan knew that the price of comfort, of staying in your safe zone, was far worse than the pain of trying and failing. He knew that comfort was the enemy of growth, and if he wanted to reach the next level, he had to push through the discomfort, face the pain, and keep striving for more. But it's not just athletes or high achievers like Michael Jordan who face this challenge. It's every single one of us. We all have dreams, we all have goals, but we also all have a natural tendency to stay where it's easy, where it's safe. It's tempting, isn't it? To stay in your comfort zone, to take the path of least resistance. But the reality is, the more you stay in your comfort zone, the smaller your life gets. You stop growing. You stop challenging yourself. You stop reaching for new heights. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself that you'll do something tomorrow, that you'll take that risk once you feel ready? But then tomorrow comes, and you find another excuse and another. The truth is, you'll never feel fully ready. The only way to grow is to step into the unknown, to step into the discomfort, and trust that you'll figure it out along the way. That's where growth happens. Not in your cozy routine, not in the predictable comfort of your daily life. Growth happens in the mess, in the chaos, in the discomfort of doing something you've never done before. Look at every breakthrough in history, whether in science, business, or personal achievement, and you'll find a story of someone who chose discomfort over comfort. Take Elon Musk, for example. Musk didn't sit around waiting for a perfect situation to build a company like Tesla. He didn't wait for comfort. He dove straight into the discomfort of the unknown, betting everything on an idea that seemed crazy to most people. And now, Tesla is one of the most innovative companies in the world, leading the way in electric vehicles. He didn't sit back and wait for comfort to come to him. He embraced discomfort, and in doing so, created a revolution. You have the same power within you, the power to break free from the grip of comfort and step into discomfort. The moment you stop seeking comfort and start seeking growth, your life changes. But it's not easy. It requires discipline. It requires grit. It requires you to get uncomfortable. But I promise you this, the reward is worth it. On the other side of discomfort lies everything you want: success, fulfillment, and the kind of life that people only dream about. So stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for the perfect moment when everything aligns. It will never come. Step into the discomfort. Embrace the struggle. And know that every step you take out of your comfort zone is a step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. The lies we tell ourselves are some of the most destructive forces in our lives. They're often subtle, whispered in the back of our minds, convincing us that we're not good enough, that we don't have what it takes, that we're too old, too young, too inexperienced, or too late. These lies become the walls that trap us. They imprison our potential. And the most insidious part is that we believe them. Think about it. How many times have you talked yourself out of doing something great because of a story you told yourself? I'll never be able to do that. I'm not qualified enough. It's too risky. These lies keep you stagnant. They keep you playing small. And the more you buy into them, the less you're able to achieve. They stop you from even trying. They prevent you from stepping up to the plate and swinging for the fences. Look at anyone who has achieved anything remarkable. Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, and Elon Musk. All of them were told they couldn't do it. Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah was told she was too emotionally unstable to be a good TV host. Musk was laughed at when he said he wanted to colonize Mars. But here's the thing, they didn't buy into the lies. They didn't let other people's opinions or their own fears dictate their futures. Instead, they chose to tell themselves a different story. They told themselves, I can do this. I will do this. And because of that belief, they pushed through the barriers, the doubts, and the fears that most people would have given up on. The truth is, the lies we tell ourselves often stem from deep-rooted fears. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. But those fears aren't real. They're just projections of our insecurities. They aren't based on fact. They're based on the stories we tell ourselves about what might happen if we take that risk or try something new. These lies are shaped by our past experiences, our upbringing, and the voices of others. But the key is recognizing that these fears, these lies, don't have any power unless you give them power. Take a moment and think about your own life. What lies are you telling yourself right now? Are you telling yourself that you're too old to start something new? That you're not qualified for the job you want? That you'll never be able to lose the weight or achieve that big dream? Every time you buy into that lie, you reinforce the wall that holds you back. You let the lie define you instead of letting your potential define who you are. The power of the lie is in its ability to make you feel comfortable. It allows you to stay where you are, to stay safe, to avoid the discomfort of change. But that comfort comes at a cost. The longer you stay comfortable, the further you drift away from your true potential. The longer you allow those lies to control your actions, the more they become your reality. But here's the turning point. The moment you choose to stop believing those lies is the moment your life begins to change. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's not about waiting for the world to change. It's about deciding right now that you will no longer be ruled by the lies you've told yourself. You will no longer let fear and doubt decide your future. You will take action, no matter how small, and step into the truth of who you are. You see, every successful person, every person who's ever achieved greatness, has faced those same lies. The difference is they chose to challenge them. They chose to rewrite their story. They chose to believe in themselves, even when everything around them said they couldn't. And that's what you need to do, too. You need to start telling yourself the truth. You need to start telling yourself that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you can do the things you think are impossible. The lies you've been telling yourself are not the truth. They are not your reality. The truth is you are stronger, smarter, and more capable than you give yourself credit for. The only thing standing in your way is the story you've been telling yourself. It's time to change that story. It's time to stop believing the lies and start believing in the incredible potential that lies within you. Because when you do, nothing can stop you. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the foundation on which all success is built. Without discipline, your dreams are just ideas floating in the air, never taking shape. Discipline is what turns vision into reality, actions into results, and hopes into achievements. It's not a flashy concept, nor is it glamorous. But its impact is undeniable, and those who embrace it realize that it's the secret ingredient to greatness. Let me take you back to a story you might know well. Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time. Here's a man who didn't wake up one day and suddenly achieve what he did. No, he woke up every day at 5 a.m., before most of the world was even thinking about their goals. He spent hours in the pool, pushing his body beyond its limits. For over a decade, he committed to this routine, discipline, day after day, year after year. And in the end, that discipline paid off in ways most people could only dream of. When he stood on that podium with gold medals around his neck, it wasn't the flashy moments that got him there. It was the daily grind, the discipline of showing up when it was hard, when it wasn't convenient, and when it felt like nobody was watching. But let's be clear here. Discipline isn't about brute force. It's not about punishing yourself for falling short. It's about consistency. It's about knowing that what you do today has the power to shape your future. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the hard work when it seems easier to walk away. The most successful people aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who show up consistently, the ones who do the work when no one else is looking. They understand that discipline is the silent force behind every great achievement. And yet, so many of us struggle with discipline. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. It's far easier given the temptation to take the easy path. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll just skip it today. But every time you do that, you delay your success. You rob yourself of the progress you could be making. You fall into a cycle of procrastination, and before you know it, days, weeks, and years slip by. Discipline, on the other hand, forces you to confront that urge to take shortcuts. It forces you to be honest with yourself about what really matters and what you're willing to sacrifice to get there. Look at someone like Warren Buffett, who, at 91 years old, is still one of the most successful investors in the world. Buffett's wealth didn't come from taking risks or chasing trends. It came from his discipline to focus on what matters, reading, learning, and making sound investments year after year. He's made thousands of decisions, but it was a discipline to stick to his principles. No matter what the market was doing, that made him a legend. His success is built on decades of disciplined decision-making. Now, let's turn the focus back to you. What's holding you back? Where is your lack of discipline keeping you from your dreams? It's easy to blame external factors, time, circumstances, or luck. But the truth is, discipline is the one thing that's entirely within your control. The moment you decide to prioritize your goals over distractions, you take control of your life. The moment you commit to doing the work, regardless of how you feel, you unlock the power to change your reality. Discipline doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require you to be the best or the most talented. What it requires is consistency. It requires you to show up, to take that small action, even when it's difficult. And over time, that small action compounds. It leads to bigger achievements, greater progress, and a life built on the foundation of your own hard work. So, stop making excuses. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The only moment you have is now. Discipline is the key that unlocks the door to your future. Every day you practice it, you get closer to your dreams. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you reinforce the path to success. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because in the end, the impact of discipline isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process. And that person is unstoppable. What's your legacy? That question, simple as it may seem, is one that can change everything. Most people go through life without giving it much thought. They get caught up in the hustle, the grind, the everyday distractions, and before they know it, years have passed. And then one day, they wake up and realize that their time on this earth is finite. The moments they could have used to make an impact, to build something meaningful, have slipped through their fingers like sand. They wonder, what have I left behind? What will people remember me for? You see, legacy isn't just about wealth or fame. It's not about leaving behind a house or a car or a bank account full of zeros. It's about the lives you touch, the impact you have, the way you inspire others. The truth is, the mark you leave on the world isn't measured in material possessions. It's measured in the difference you make, the change you inspire, the hearts you touch. Look at someone like Nelson Mandela. He could have lived a comfortable life, avoided the political struggle, and taken the easy road. But instead, he chose to stand up for what was right, to fight against the injustice of apartheid. He spent 27 years in prison, enduring suffering and hardship. Yet, when he was freed, he didn't hold on to bitterness. He didn't seek revenge. Instead, he worked to heal a divided nation. His legacy wasn't built on wealth or power. It was built on courage, sacrifice, and love. Mandela's legacy is still alive today, not in the buildings he left behind, but in the hearts of the millions who were inspired by his example. His life reminds us that the true measure of success is found in how we lift others up, how we contribute to the greater good. But here's the thing. You don't need to be a world leader to leave a powerful legacy. Every single one of us has the potential to make an impact. The question is, how are you living your life? Are you living in a way that reflects the legacy you want to leave? Are you building something that will outlive you? Think about the people in your life who have shaped you. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you when no one else did. Maybe it was a parent who sacrificed everything to give you a better life. Maybe it was a friend who had your back when the world turned its back on you. These people may not have been famous, but their influence on you was profound. Their legacy lives on your actions, your beliefs, and the way you treat others. The point is this: legacy isn't something that happens after you're gone. It starts right now. Every decision you make, every action you take, is a step in the direction of the legacy you want to leave behind. You're building it every day, whether you realize it or not. Every time you choose to help someone, to serve others, to do the right thing even when it's hard, you're leaving a legacy of integrity, kindness, and strength. But legacy isn't just about what you do for others. It's also about what you do for yourself. It's about growing, learning, and striving to be the best version of yourself. The legacy you leave isn't just about what you give. It's also about who you become in the process. Because when you grow, when you challenge yourself to rise above the ordinary, you inspire others to do the same. And that, my friend, is how legacies are built. So, what's your legacy? What will people say about you when you're no longer here? Will they remember the way you treated them? The difference you made in their lives? Will they remember how you inspired them to be better, to strive for more? Or will they remember someone who played it safe, who lived without purpose? The time is now. Start building your legacy today. Decide what you want it to be and live your life in alignment with that vision. Because in the end, the greatest gift we can leave behind isn't money, status, or material things. It's the impact we have on others. It's the love we give, the lives we touch, and the example we set. That is a true legacy, and that is what will endure long after we're gone. The power of choice is the most underappreciated force in our lives. Think about it for a moment. Every single day, we are faced with a multitude of choices. Big and small, obvious and subtle. What to eat for breakfast, how to react to a challenge, whether take that extra step toward our goals or put it off for another day. But the truth is, these choices, no matter how small they seem, are what shape our lives. And the power you hold in making those choices is what ultimately defines your destiny. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you truly recognized the weight of the choices you were making? We often go through life on autopilot, making decisions based on routine, comfort, or even the expectations of others. We let our circumstances dictate our actions. But if you really stop and think about it, the reality is much simpler. The choices you make are what create your life, your success, your happiness, your relationships, your health. They all come down to the choices you make every day. Take the example of Oprah Winfrey. She could have let her circumstances define her. She grew up in poverty, faced abuse, and struggled against a society that told her she was destined to fail. But Oprah made a choice. She chose to rise above her circumstances. She chose to believe in her potential, to take control of her own destiny. It wasn't always easy. She made mistakes, faced setbacks, and endured hardship. But through it all, she made choices that aligned with her vision. And those choices led her to become one of the most influential women in the world. Her success wasn't due to luck. It was a result of the power of choice, choosing to take risks, choosing to learn from failure, choosing to never give up. Now, let's bring it closer to home. You may not have the same platform or the same opportunities as Oprah, but you have something just as powerful: the ability to choose. Every moment of your life is shaped by the choices you make. You can choose to stay stuck in your comfort zone, to keep playing it safe. Or you can choose to push yourself, to take risks, to move towards something bigger, something better. You can choose to believe in your potential, even when the world doubts you. You can choose to let go of the excuses and take responsibility for your actions. You see, choice is not just about what you do in the easy moments. It's about how you respond when things get tough. It's about the decision to keep going when every part of you wants to quit. It's about choosing to rise, choosing to fight, choosing to stay focused on your goals, even when life throws challenges your way. That's where true power lies. And the best part is, it's always in your hands. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need a perfect situation. All you need is the courage to make the choice. Look at someone like Steve Jobs. He faced rejection, failure, and even being fired from the company he founded. But he made a choice not to give up, not to let those setbacks define him. Instead, he chose to come back, to innovate, and to build a company that would change the world. Jobs could have easily walked away after his failures, but he chose to keep going. He chose to believe in his vision. And because of that choice, he left a legacy that will live on for generations. Every day, you're presented with choices that define who you are and who you will become. And while the big decisions often stand out, it's the small ones, the everyday choices, that ultimately determine your future. Do you choose to invest in yourself? Do you choose to show up for your dreams? Do you choose to keep pushing when things get tough? These choices, compounded over time, will either lead you to greatness or leave you stuck in the same place. So, what choices are you making today? Are they leading you toward the life you want, or are they holding you back? The power to change your life, to create the success you desire, is in your hands. Every choice you make is an opportunity to move closer to your goals or further away. The question is, what will you choose? You want to know the hardest thing about laziness? It makes you feel like you're doing enough, when in reality, you're doing nothing. The worst part is, you won't even realize what you're missing out on until it's too late. The dreams you could have built, the legacy you could have left, all of that, it's slipping away while you sit there in comfort, thinking you have more time. But here's the truth. Laziness is a dream killer. The moment you choose to face it, you take back control. And that control is where your greatness lies.